Guys, and welcome back to the FFF HQ. I promised you a follow-up on a couple weeks ago. I did an intuitive eating video, which is linked above, and today we're going to do part 2. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the recipes and intuitive eating tips each week. Now let's dive right in. So in that video, or the very first video, I talked about the 10 principles of intuitive eating, just kind of touched on what they each were. So today I kind of want to go into each a little bit more, talk about what they are and kind of what that has looked like in my own life, how I've applied that. So the very first one is reject the diet mentality. So a lot of us, most of us, we're kind of in like a diet mindset even if we don't think we are. What that means is we eat based on numbers, how many macros we have, how many calories we have, certain times or not at certain times, intermittent fasting, all those kinds of things. We kind of follow these diets. We don't just trust our intuition, we don't trust our gut to tell us when we're hungry or what we want or anything like that. It's all very calculated, and these rules and restrictions really create a toxic relationship with food, especially I've seen that in my own life. So what this looks like for me is I used to follow a very specific calorie plan for my whole day, and each meal had to be a certain calories. I had to have a certain amount of hours between meals or not hours. If I was even hungry an hour later, I couldn't eat. It had to be 2 or 3 hours or whatever my rule was. I didn't eat what I wanted. I had the same thing for every single meal because it was safe. I knew it fit into those calories and those macros that I had already told myself that that's what my body needed, which is not true. Our bodies aren't calculators and they have different needs every single day. But now I do follow my intuition. I don't really ask my body because that's kind of strange, but I listen to my body about what it wants to eat for every single meal. All my meals are different. They're all a different number of calories. I eat a different number of calories, a different ratio of macros, which I don't count every single day. And it's really just listening to my body and just to reject that diet mentality and just to know that my body and what it's telling me is actually right, not some arbitrary diet or a number. So number 2, and this is a huge one for me, is honoring your hunger. So a lot of us, we don't eat when we're hungry. Again, going back to number 1, because we have a certain amount of calories or macros that we have to hit or not hit. So if we're hungry, we're like, oh, we can't eat any more calories so we don't have any more on our plan. So we kind of ignore hunger. Or a lot of us eat too quickly or not mindfully, so we eat past full, or we confuse different emotions for hunger when maybe it's stressed or anxious, and then we eat out of emotional reasons or when we're bored. So for me, I definitely kind of avoided my hunger for so many years that my body actually shut it down. So your body, when you're restricting food and you're underweight, you're not nourishing yourself, it will shut down the processes that it doesn't need to actually function and to actually survive, so that it can conserve that energy so it can keep you alive. So we need to eat, but we don't need to feel hungry. So I actually didn't feel hungry for like 10 years, but I obsessed about food. So that's a secondary mechanism. We think about food all the time when we're restricting our food because our body is trying to make us eat. Even though it doesn't feel hungry, it's still trying to make us eat and to seek out food. So for me, really trying to learn other ways of feeling hunger, so there are other signs like weakness, headache, thinking about food, and to start honoring those when I wasn't actually feeling like that rumbling in my stomach was a really huge step for me. And then once I was able to do that, my actual like hunger cues, like feeling hungry, all those things that we associate with needing to eat, started to come back. And then learning to actually feel what full felt like, because when you don't feel hungry, it's really hard to know what full feels like. So kind of rating that hunger and fullness on a scale was really powerful for me to actually determine what my body needs and what it wants and when to stop eating and when to start eating, instead of waiting until I'm super full or ravenously hungry like so many people do. They only eat when they're like starving, not when they're just kind of hungry, and then they don't stop until they're uncomfortable. It's kind of finding that middle ground. I still get this wrong sometimes. Sometimes I don't eat when I should, and then I get too hungry or eat a little bit past fullness. It's this learning experience, but the great thing about intuitive eating is there's no wrong answers. It's just like a journey and it's just a process. So number 3, and this one has been another game changer for me. I mean, I think they all have been, is to make peace with food. So what that means is, even if you don't realize it, most of us, probably all of us, have some kind of notions about whether a food is good or whether a food is bad. For example, a cupcake we probably consider bad, and maybe a broccoli we consider good. So we have like morality on food. But realistically, all food is food. It's all made of protein, carbs, fat. Some of it has nutrients and all those kind of things, but all the building blocks are the same. Your body kind of processes it the same. So just making peace with that and taking away the morality of food. It's a lot of times what leads people to binge, because they think that this cupcake, for example, is super bad, can't eat it, can't eat it, can't eat it. And the more you focus on not eating it, the more your brain is going to make you seek it out. And then you feel like, okay, I've already eaten 1. So tomorrow the diet starts again, so today I'm just gonna eat 5. and then the next day you go back to your diet and you go back to restricting, and so the cycle continues. So when there's no good and bad foods and you know that all food is on limits, you can eat a cookie and know that there's another cookie if you want it, but maybe you're gonna want it tomorrow, and it's always there. There's no like Last Supper mentality where this is your last meal before the diet. There's no good, there's no bad, there's just food, and you can eat it all whenever you want. So for me, that's been giving myself permission to eat all foods. And yes, at first, when I was starting this journey, I ate a lot more quote unquote bad foods, more sugary treats, because I hadn't had them for so long. But now I'm seeing balance. I can have a cookie, I don't want another cookie, because I know it's there later, and I can eat nourishing foods and sometimes not nourishing foods and just know that it's all good. So number 4 is to challenge the food police. So that's kind of reframing your thoughts and your attitudes towards food or how you eat food or anything like that. So for example, if you eat a bad food and you think, oh, I was bad today because I ate this, or I shouldn't eat this because it's bad or because it's not in your calories or macros or whatever. Basically, when you think that the food you eat somehow gives you some sort of value, because it really doesn't. You're just the same person whether you eat a cupcake or whether you eat a broccoli. So for me, I was very much, I shouldn't eat this, or I ate this bad food, so now I am bad. You know, I had fun on Saturday night, I went out for date night, had wine, and I was bad. So just removing that and just knowing that you're the same person no matter what you eat is honestly a really, really freeing thing. So number 5 is to respect your fullness. So when we're out of touch with our hunger signals, because dieting tells us when to eat, what to eat, how much to eat, we're not trusting our intuition. It's also, like I talked about, really, really easy to become out of touch with your fullness. Whether that means you don't feel full, or sometimes you feel too full too quickly if you're not eating enough, or you just don't even know what fullness feels like because you never eat there because your calories, the calories that you've allotted yourself, don't let you get to fullness. So for me, this was really, I never really felt full because I never felt hungry. So using a hunger scale and to understand what feels good and what feels not too full, because a lot of us eat too quickly, we're not mindful like I talked about, and then we get too full, or we don't know, like for me, when I first started this, I was eating to a place where I wasn't full enough and the food would only last me about an hour because I didn't know what an actual fullness felt like. So learning these things, it sounds so simple, but it's so life-changing and so powerful. And especially when you know that food is always there. You can eat it whenever you want, there's no limits, there's permission to all foods, you don't feel this uncontrollable urge to eat until uncomfortably full. You can just be satisfied and happy and just learn to trust your body. So number 6 is to discover the satisfaction factor. So a lot of people confuse satisfaction with fullness, and they're two different things. You can feel full, but not satisfied, which is what a lot of people who are on diets find themselves. I found that a lot. I would always try and choose the food that was the most filling with the least calories, but it wasn't the food that I actually wanted, so I didn't feel satisfied. So when you discover the satisfaction factor, you learn to eat foods that actually make you feel good in the meal and also after. So foods that are usually a little bit healthier and nourishing most of the time make you feel good afterwards. Of course, there's always room for treats and donuts and all those brownies that are totally on limits to you now, but also food that makes you feel good in the moment. So you're not full, but wanting more food. You're actually full and satisfied. You slow down, you enjoy food, you enjoy the aroma, the taste, you eat with people you love, and those are all part of satisfaction that so many of us are missing out because we're just trying to eat the least amount of calories and feel the most full so we can lose weight, and that's not the goal of intuitive eating. Is to really be in touch with your body and what you want and what makes you feel full. So number 7 is to honor your feelings without using food. So if we eat when we're feeling some kind of emotion like anxiety, sad, lonely, whatever, and it's not actually biological hunger, which is okay to do sometimes, but if we're doing it all the time, then the pleasure of that meal only lasts for as long as the meal is, and as soon as it's over, we lose that pleasure and we're just left feeling with that same emotion, that boredom, that anxiety, whatever it may be. And then we usually still feel kind of guilty and shameful because now we ate, we weren't hungry, and there's all this crazy wave of emotions. So intuitive eating teaches us to find other coping mechanisms that make us feel good when those emotions hit. So for example, going for a walk with a friend. Maybe you're lonely and you call a friend and you go for a coffee, or you're bored and you go and draw, or something like that, or a journal. But when you have these coping mechanisms that you know are going to make you feel good afterwards instead of bad or guilty or shameful, you're more likely to honor those emotions correctly, and then you can use hunger, you can use food when you're actually biologically hungry, or sometimes, when it's just you're out with a friend and you want an ice cream cone, but it's not all the time. You have these separate coping mechanisms that make you feel good. So number 8 is to respect your body, and this is a huge one for me and for pretty much everyone. And that is just to embrace your genetic blueprint. So we all are made differently. We all have different shapes. I am 5'3", and I am never gonna be a 5'11" model. It's just not in my genetic blueprint. And that's something that we have to accept. We have to accept our shape and our weight and our set point weight, which is the weight that your body wants to be, and it actually fights to be there, which is why I gained weight as soon as I started intuitive eating, because I was under what my body wanted to be, but then my weight just stopped increasing, even though I didn't change anything. I'm still eating the same, I'm still not exercising, because my body is at the weight that it wants to be. And we all have this range, this weight range, this set point range, and we can't choose it, and maybe that sucks for some of us and we can't accept it, but you have to learn to accept it. And that doesn't mean that you're gonna absolutely love how your body looks every single day, but you accept what it is, because that body is the body that lets you live your free life. What I always say is dogs come in different shapes and sizes, and all of them are good, and our bodies are just the same way. So number 9 is to exercise and feel the difference. And this is one that I'm slowly toying with, because I'm not quite back at lifting weights at the gym yet, I'm just doing yoga. But even just doing yoga, I can feel that it's not for burning calories. So when we're in the diet mentality and we're trying to get to a certain weight or controlling our calories and living in restriction, we're exercising not usually because it makes us feel good, but because it burns calories, and it's a means to get to a certain weight or to prevent ourselves from gaining weight, which is the way I exercised before. I couldn't miss a day because I thought I'd gain weight. Everything was related to how I exercised. But when an intuitive eater exercises, it's because it makes them feel good. It gives them energy. They're able to listen to their body. If their body is saying, nope, no exercise today, I'm tired, or maybe they go to the gym and they have to finish their exercise early because they're tired or they just don't have time. It's not a big issue because it's not about burning calories. They can try new exercises and actually understand what makes them feel good. Maybe they have been doing weights because they thought that's what would burn the most calories, but they didn't like it. Once they become an intuitive eater, maybe they want to do Zumba or Pilates or something like that. But it's seeing how exercise actually truly makes you feel, as opposed to doing what you absolutely have to do out of restriction and fear. So number 10 is to honor your health. So intuitive eating isn't just like eating all the pizza and eating all the cookies all day long and not eating vegetables. It's practicing gentle nutrition. So listening to your body, and once you get past that stage of eating all those things, if you are listening to your body, it is going to start craving a salad. It is going to start craving vegetables again. And knowing that you can do those things and eat those things, but you can still eat a cookie every once in a while or whenever you want one, because that one cookie or that one meal or whatever you're doing doesn't make or break your health. It's not this all or nothing mentality. It's knowing that your life is so much bigger and the health of your life than just the food that you eat. It's your family, it's living your friends, it's living out your values. And when you're able to live out your values, for me, my values are, my husband, date nights with my husband, being able to go out with my family when I see them and have spontaneous treats or cocktails. And that's me living out my values. When you're able to live out your values and your food aligns with that and it helps aid you in that, then you're honoring your health, and you can practice gentle nutrition within that. So choosing vegetables sometimes and choosing cookies sometimes. It's all about a balance. And there's 10 principles of intuitive eating. Which one are you struggling with the most? I'd love to hear in the comments below. I'd also love to hear just about your general thoughts about intuitive eating. I also really appreciate a like and a thumbs up of the video, and make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'm delivering new healthy recipes, product reviews, intuitive eating tips, you name it, I got it every single week. So I hope you go put these into practice, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.